For campaign, we are here to vet the nominee. So if any member who want to ask question but is unable to take guidance from me, I will overrule the person. So, Honorable Shaibu, you have the floor. After that, I can come to Honorable Yusuf.
Most grateful, Honorable Chairman. Honorable nominee, congratulations on a deserved nomination. Indeed, when your name was mentioned, most in the sports fraternity said, oh, you are not part of the sports system. Please convince Ghana and the entire world that you can do the job. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It is the case that some say so, but majority are also very happy that I've been nominated. I will not disappoint Ghanaians and I will not disappoint His Excellency the President. I will deliver and won't also disappoint myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll give the floor to Honorable Yusuf. Please, question.
Thank you so much, Chairman, for the opportunity. And once again, I want to congratulate the nominee for his appointment. Chairman, let me put it on the record that the nominee, I don't have anything against the nominee. He's coming to succeed me. And now I have the opportunity from you to ask him a question, a simple question. And I was just going to ask him the various sports infrastructure that we have constructed. Looking at our maintenance culture, how is he going, what steps is he going to take to ensure that these sports facilities, and I was making reference to the Baltimore sports facilities that we have constructed, the Lagos sports facility that we have constructed, the cricket oval at Achimota that we have constructed, then also the hockey pitch that we have constructed. How is he going to ensure that all these facilities are certified by the international bodies? How is he going to ensure that these facilities are maintained so that they can use to host international sporting events in the country? Thank you.
Well, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, we are going to improve upon maintenance culture. We will not allow any facility to deteriorate to the point that we could even be banned from using it. So the very minimal resources we have, we will spend it to make sure we maintain what we have whilst we build new ones also. Thank you.
Any further question?
Chairman, yes. One of the objectives of the ministry is to ensure that we get our national teams to participate in international competitions and to win medals for our country. We won the only medal in 30 years in the Olympic Games in Tokyo. We also increased our medal table in the just ended African Games. We also won 6 medals in the Birmingham Commonwealth Games. What steps is he going to take to ensure that we improve on the medals that we get when we participate in international games? Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's the case that arm wrestling was what saved us recently. But we truly will be investing heavily also in the other sports where we used to do so well, boxing, athletics, and what have you. It's equally so unfortunate that just yesterday, there was a draw for the African Cup of Nations.
Honorable members, let's have some order. Honorable members, let's have some order.
Ghana didn't feature. We work very hard to make sure that we get back to the glory days. Thank you.
A follow-up, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the nominee just mentioned that it's just arm wrestling that saved the the country during the African Games. And I want to put on record, it's not just arm wrestling, because the black satellites.
Honorable Yusuf, he is entitled to his answer.
Yes, and
you are also entitled to your view.
Yes, so my view have to be expressed.
Once the answer is placed on the record, if you have a supplementary question, go and ask the supplementary question.
Chairman, the follow-up I wanted to do was also to put the facts right. That during the African Games, our satellites and the Black Princesses, and also most of the boxing, for example, and athletics, almost all the sporting discipline won medal. So if the nominee is here, and that was the best performance in the history of since 1965, I have the right to set the record straight as well. Yes. And so the follow-up that I want to ask my successor, Mr. Chairman, is to ask him that what training measures is he going to put in place to ensure that our athletes get prepared very well in participating in international competition. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We have indicated that we will improve grassroots sports. And we're going to go back to the intercolleges days, because you need to catch them young and train them from that point. You don't let them mature to a certain stage before you start investing in them. We want the reverse of the pyramid and make sure that the pyramid stands with the base being larger and broader. Then as it peaks, where it becomes commercially viable, you reduce investment. So we're going to do that and then improve upon our pitches. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the nominee, my last question to the nominee, Honorable Kofi Adams, has to do with budget. Normally, the ministry, we have a lot of federations. We have more than 56 federations. And outside this federation, we have national commitment to our football. And we all know that Ghana, when it comes to football, our passion is so very high. The budget the ministry receives mostly is less than $34 million. In their manifesto, they indicated that they will be paying sports. Sports is the manifesto that I'm just. In their manifesto, they indicated that they will be paying the national, the clubs, the players that plays in the Premier Leagues, the local teams, first division and second division. Can you tell us whether he knows rough idea the budget that will be used to cater for this? Thank you.
Chairman, we are committed to every manifesto promise. We will be discussing in details the modalities, and we'll make sure we implement it to the satisfaction of the playing body.
Any last follow-up? I will proceed to give the floor to the ranking member.
Please, with respect, yes, but Deputy Whip and Chief Whip want to have.
Honourable members, Deputy Whip.
Mr. Nominee, Honourable Nominee, congratulations.
Thank you.
As President of Ghana Weightlifting Federation and the Deputy General Secretary of Ghana Olympics Committee, one of the major problems of Ghana sports is money, funding. I actually had the opportunity of doing some work on funding, but I want to find out from you, have you had any briefing on funding, especially for the lesser known sports? And if you have, would you want to share?
Well, thank you very much. We have discussed funding. I'm aware that we have a debt of about 468 million sitting there that must be dealt with. I equally also know that the challenge we have is the NSA, which is the bridge. Sometimes is not allowed to also interface and deal with GFA, especially when it comes to Black Stars funding. We intend to make sure that we re-strategize so that NSA will play the role it's supposed to play, and some amount of money will be made available from the savings to get the other sports functioning. Again, we will have to receive budgets from all of them. So the lesser that come, every federation knows how much is available to them. So none will be left out.
Mr. Chair, yes. I also want to find out, do you have any plans with reference to footballers who are no more playing, other sportsmen who are no more in active sports? Do you have any pension plans for them?
Well, we have talked about this in our manifesto, that we want to encourage the active ones now to make sure that they contribute to a pension scheme. I am sure when I get into the office through the approval of this committee and the House, we will work other modalities to see those who have already retired and see what we can do for them. You remember some time back, His Excellency the President, then candidate, have to intervene to save the goalkeeper of the Black Queens to get her a decent accommodation. I don't think that our heroes and heroines should go through such a situation. So I agree with you that we must do something about that.
Just a follow-up. Have you met the PFAG, Professional Footballers Association of Ghana?
No, please, but I've been engaging individuals, not as an association, but individuals who have retired, I've been engaging them.
My final question. Have you also had the opportunity of meeting with the Ghana Olympics Committee, specifically maybe the president and then the executive board, President Benunu Mensah and executive board, to know what plans we have towards Olympics qualification and any other Olympic sports?
When this House confirms me and I'm sworn in, I will engage all of them. But currently, like I said, I'm having some engagement and I've engaged Benunu Mensah as an individual.
Thank you very much and I wish you well.
Thank you.
I proceed to take question from the Chief Whip.
Mr. Chair, thank you. My good friend, Kofi Adams. I just have a couple of questions for you.
Thank you.
Don't believe the propaganda. We in the minority, we support you. Don't worry. We support you. We know you will do a good work. My first question would be on, now, as we are all aware, your ministry's designation has been changed, and there is an addition of recreation, which you do know very important, the effect of it on our health and other concerns, so critical. What thinking are you going to the ministry with to strengthen that aspect of that ministry?
Thank you. I have always believed that a very healthy nation will be highly productive. And one way of being healthy is being active. And so we're going to promote a lot of active lifestyle in all our communities and to encourage many persons. I've seen even media platforms encourage persons, and the turnout sometimes is so beautiful. So I want to help to reduce our health bill by making sure that we are very active up to the very minimal level.
Okay. The number of astroturfs we have in our country now, I don't know if you have taken inventory of the number now. What we have now, are you aware of it? The total number of astroturfs we have?
I don't know the total number that we have. However, I have some concerns about the astroturfs. Some of them, truly speaking, have not been constructed to standard. And I don't know whether you are aware that in one instance, it resulted in a very serious injury to the head of a player because the space between the touchline and the metal was so close, it's not up to standard, that it caused an injury when the player was chasing after the ball. So we will look at them, the ones that are not standard, in order to avoid some of these injuries. Maybe we may not use them for such other sports, but we don't use them for football, but we can use them for other sports and recreational activities that will not demand a certain chase of the balls.
Honorable nominee, I'm sure you agree with me that our Premier League, it's maybe for want of better expression, and if I'm going to be charitable in terms of the description, is a pale shadow of itself. If you do agree, what are the plans beyond the Kotoko and Hearts? Hoover Adeb, I'm not too sure. I used to be a fan though. I used to be a fan of Hoover Adeb. Yes. I know if you agree, what do you intend to do? What do you intend to do to up the steam again?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We have talked about a number of things that confront our Premier League. It includes even the technical stuff. And that's part of the reason why we said we're going to modernize and raise the Winneba Sports College into a university where training of professionals will be quite high, so we can have a lot of technical persons that can handle our clubs. Again, we talked about giving them some allowances so we can retain a number of our players. Some of them leave the shores of this country to go and play in war-torn countries just because their earnings are so low. So the whole idea to retain players by giving them some stipend will go a long way to help improve our leagues. Of course, we want to also bring back the love so that fans can get to the stadium and watch their teams play.
Honorable Adams, this will be my last question. Kofi Adams, from where you sit, what are some of the challenges you have identified? I concede you are yet to go to the ministry, but I also know that you've done some work. Some of the challenges you have identified with the sports ecosystem and how you intend to track these problems down.
Well, number one is funding.
No, unfortunately, but they're fairly confident that he targeted City Hall because of our inability to enact the SCGR.
Of some of it's good to have former athletes or former sports person help in training. But sometimes they do not have the skill of coaching. So we need to also upgrade them, improve them through the college system that we're going to be putting in place. Of course, we also want to give scholarships and opportunity of learning for the young ones who will be identified very early. So a lot of factors will come up as a result of the challenges that we've found. Thank you.
Chair, let me thank Honorable nominee, congratulate him and wish him all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Chair, I know we have one more to go for the day. I don't have any question. I want to yield to Honorable Jampa to do his, with your leave. Then
Honorable Jampa, proceed to ask your question, but who told you have one more?
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations, Honorable nominee, and my teacher at Adesade College. Honorable nominee, I want to ask you this. You've taught in Adesade College before, right? And you've been in Central Region. You know those days when you talk of sports, you talk of
Can we have order?
Now, Winneba Sports College is underutilized. And it was a place that we used to train coaches, and a whole lot of sportsmen came from Winneba Sports College. What are your plans to lift the image of Winneba Sports College? How are you going to make it look like in the olden days, 1990s, that Winneba Sports College used to be?
Thank you. You are right that the Winneba Sports College is now in a very sorry state. We have about 4 football pitches there. Only one is still really available for use. The rest have been left to deteriorate. The guest houses are in very bad state. The hostels in bad state. But the management of the Winneba Sports College have begun something. When approved by this House, I'll see
let there be order.
that we improve upon it as indicated, because our intentions is to turn it into a model university that can train coaches and other sports-related professionals as indicated in our manifesto. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Mr. Honorable nominee, I want to ask you this.
Honorable Umar and Honorable Jerry Shaib, please, let's have some order.
In those days, when inter-schools, we are doing inter-colleges, you know the zeal, superzonals, inter-colleges. These days, you don't hear of this. The sports are going down. And for Ghana sports to improve, it starts from our basic schools, our secondary schools. Please, my question is, how are you going to link the inter-schools, or how are you going to link school sports into the national development?
Well, thank you. If you observe, in 2016, we passed an act. And in that act, it's indicated clearly for us to have school sports development agency. And so we seriously going to run this in a much more serious and a coordinated manner. This time they do it biennially, and because of that, some people go through school without having the chance to practice their talent. That will stop because we're going to run it and run it a bit more seriously. I've engaged the Minister for Education and would make sure that together the National Sports Authority and Ghana Education Service will collaborate to see to it that school sports improve.
Honorable nominee, my last question. You are my teacher, so my last question to you. You know, when I was in Adjournment College, I used to run. I was an athlete. And these days, even when you ask some of the students to go and do sports, they even get it very difficult to buy this equipment, like the running shoes and other things. You know, the sports equipment now are very, very expensive. How are you going to support these young ones who have that interest in doing our sports to make Ghana proud?
Well, thank you very much. One of the things I will be pushing will be some level of exemptions for importation of sports equipment that will go directly to either schools or clubs, registered clubs. And they can have an ownership with the National Sports Authority so that individuals cannot use the opportunity to bring in stuff that they will sell in the open market. So we'll work on that and get them some tax exemptions to be able to clear these goods.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minority Leader has a closing comment.
Honorable nominee, there is nothing more from our side. We wish you well. You will hear from us. Chairman will discharge you.
Thank you.
Honorable members, here we don't clap. Please, please. May I proceed to recognize and acknowledge our revered guests. First in my list is Honorable John Kojo Japon, OT Regional Minister, and former OT Regional Chairman. Former Voter Regional Chairman. current OT Regional Chairman and OT Regional Minister. Mrs. Cynthia Opoku Adams, spouse of the nominee. Mr. William Kate, Chief Director, Ministry of Sports and Recreation. Nana Ajay Tete, Base Brentuo, Adonti Hini of Buem, and Chief of Jasikan. Nana Kaklamasi Obo Kuma, Bandana Chief of Tetema. Nana Abdulaiti Buati Buaka, Chief of Baglo Buem. Nana Olatidi Opongo, Chief of Jolu Buem. Nana Apobia, Paramount Queen Mother of Buem Traditional Area. Alhaji Abdul Kadir Tanko, Governor of Faidha, Ghana. Mr. Ben Nunu Mensah, Ghana Olympics Committee. Nana Apinkra Kwesi Ewua, AMC Chairman, Asante Kotoko. Mr. Eric Adom, Buem Constituency Chairman. Executives of Sports Federation, Association, and Supporters Union. Our revered guests, you are welcome. Honorable Minister Designate, you are hereby discharged. You hear from the committee. May the next nominee take his seat.
I, Joseph Bukari Nkwe, do in the name of Almighty God, swear that the evidence as I give before this touches the matter shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. Help me God.
Honorable Minister Designate, proceed to tell us about yourself in 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Joseph Bukari Nkwe, a native of Saboba. I did my basic and second cycle education in Saboba, Tamale Polytechnic, certificate in education, Kumasi Campus, Winneba for my first degree, Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center for my second degree. I worked with the Ghana Education Service as the technical officer and training officer. I also became a member of the Naloni electoral area in the assembly and also became a member of parliament from 2009 to 2016. I lost the 2016 elections and relaunched my political career in 2020 till date. Mr. Chairman, this is Joseph Bukari Nkwe.
Thank you very much. We'll proceed. I'll give the floor to Honorable Haji Aladi Ayamba.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman.
Our revered guests, please get seated in silence. Let there be some order.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, congratulations, and I wish you well. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I proceed to recognize Honorable Jerry Shaib.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Likwe, congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just
Our revered guests, please. Our revered guests, please. Take your seat in silence. Please proceed with your question.
Honorable Nominee, could you kindly tell us if you have any plans of ensuring that transport owners, as in commercial transport owners, are properly clothed when they are doing their commercial business, and that littering whilst on vehicles are also stopped? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transport Owners Association, or the transport operators in our country, play a major role in helping us move from one location to another. The only thing to do is to give them the proper education, so that they will create bins in their vehicles and to give space for passengers to drop anything that they would have used. Thank you, Chairman.
Please, any further question?
Yes. So I also want to find out.
Please proceed to provide your answer.
Honorable nominee, my next question is about airfares and the kind of air buses that ply our area. We've had problems with some planes coming into Ghana, and most of them as compared to some other countries. For instance, planes that fly from maybe Dubai to Nigeria, and the ones that fly from Dubai to Ghana, and the type of aircraft, when you normally try any of them. So if you're flying from Dubai to Nigeria, and you have to fly from Dubai to Ghana, you see that the air.
Good evening. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much for your time. And so we are still in the appointment committee hearings as Parliament is looking at the ministerial nominees for President John Dramani Mahama. We have all seen the Sam George and Afenyo Makin bout that we have quite a bit to say about tonight. And then we will focus on the answers that Sam George gave to the questions of Galamsey. And he also assured the committee that the LGBT bill will be reintroduced. He takes the view of the matter that the LGBT bill has expired, given that President Akufo-Addo did not assent to it. Now, the Speaker of Parliament has already told us that he will be inquiring of the Attorney General an opinion whether or not the bill has expired. It is most likely that the Attorney General will side with the view of the President and that the conclusion will be that the bill has expired. It now opens the forum for the new bill, whether in the same form or in a different form. Now we'll be observing to see what happens to the bill, whether it's going to be in the same form, because those who were opposed to the bill had issues about some of the aspects of the bill which raised fundamental questions of rights of expression, etc., etc. We don't know yet whether the bill will take the same form, so that's something we'll be looking at. But we'll focus with you on the Sam George vet, and we'll focus on the Galamsey question, and then we'll look at that in some detail. Also, we have a response from the Freemasons based on the information from the Catholic Church that was published and the interview that we conducted. Freemasons have responded about their relationship with the Catholic Church. We'll be sharing that with you in a bit. And we have some analysis about the Vice President's team. The team that was announced for the Vice President. We are focusing on two people in the team, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo. We're going to tell you why he's there. We're going to explain to you his role. It's a much bigger conversation than just being a political advisor to the Vice President. And then we'll also be congratulating profusely Nanama Pratt, Kwesi Pratt's daughter, who is also wife of Kwame Owusu, the running mate to Alan Chamati, a lawyer Kwame Owusu, I should say. And Nanama Pratt is going to be the spokesperson to the Vice President in that office where Ofosu Ampofo is expected to lead very, very significant onslaught. That's Nanama Pratt on your screen over there. Congratulations, madam. Congratulations. She will now leave her job as the lead person at the Pan-African Television and will be headed to Jubilee House where she will be working. I'm sure one of these days she will oblige an interview to either appear here or give us a sit-down interview in the Vice President's office so we can understand how the new Vice President's office is working. 14 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. This is Good Evening Ghana and it's live. Now, we wanted to start a podcast of sorts, so we did one that we're going to share with you now. Now, what is the topic of the podcast? The topic of the podcast is about the reactions of the opposition New Patriotic Party and the way in which they are reacting to the beginnings of President John Dramani Mahama's government and reactions to letters that have been written, etc., etc. Here's our podcast of a hodgepodge of conversations about the new patriotic party. So see that. We come back to the studio, we get back into Vete with Sam George, etc. Now, whilst we are on live, I have to say that the Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikpe is being vetted right now for the position of Transport Minister. The Honorable Joseph Bukari, there you see that on your screen. Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikpe is being vetted now. He's the President's nominee for the Ministry of Transport. His vetting is currently ongoing. We are going to be watching it concurrently with our show. But as soon as the announcement comes through to us from the Parliament House, where our correspondents are, that the vetting of the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, presidential nominee for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that it will occur tonight, we will switch quickly to the Appointments Committee hearing so you can get that live. So this is Good Evening Ghana running simultaneously with the Appointments Committee hearings whilst we keep an eye on that. Let's now move over to see the podcast hodgepodge of information about what's happening with the NPP. President John Dramani Mahama was sworn into office on 7 January 2025. Having won a big election, the election surprised many people, but the NDC faithful were expecting to win. The NPP faithful were surprised, not by the defeat, but by the size of the defeat. So since then, there's been a lot of constellation in the NDC. In the NPP, I have to say, immediately the elections were over. Some people even started talking about, oh, Dr. Baumia should not run again. He lost so heavily. He didn't win votes here. He didn't win votes there. Some say that Napo was the problem. Why did he bring him? The Ashantis didn't vote. The general thoughts shows that the voter turnout was low and that majority of MPP supporters in their strongholds in Eastern and Ashanti did not vote. People believe that the whole conversation is about people not coming to vote because of economic crisis and the MPP faithful were not happy. A lot of things are going on. What we are coming to tell you here today is for my friends and dear brothers and sisters in the MPP. Government change and government's comeback. It happens. In 2016, the NDC experienced the heaviest, at the time, the heaviest defeat in the Fourth Republican history in Ghana in 2016, December. The new government was formed in 2017. Only 4 years later, after what Akufo-Addo thought he had performed creditably, and many people can attest to that, 4 years later, the entire victory of the NPP in Parliament was whittled away until Parliament became 137, just 4 years. In 1996, when the second Parliament started in January 1997, the NDC had almost a 2/3 majority in the second Parliament, almost that, the second Parliament. Within just a matter of 4 years, it was whittled away. The MPP became the majority. So that happens. In 2004, the NPP had a lead in Parliament of nearly 40, of 100 and, it wasn't 257 at the time, 237 seats. They had about a lead of about 40. 4 years later, it was completely whittled away. So things can change in politics, but the NDC's victory is big. MPP must stop talking, I think. It's my own small advice. MPP must stop talking and gather the information. So Mr. Callistus Mahama issues a statement and then we see MPP marking under it, correcting it. We don't need all that. It's time for MPP to sort of put themselves together. They are a great force. They have great people. Look at what is happening in Parliament, in the Appointments Committee. Look at Patricia Piaget, Alexander Fenyo-Markin, lawyer Eje Bafo. They are showing signs of their capability and their quality. So that's good. They can keep it at that. This issue of criticizing everything that NDC does at this time is not necessary. MPP must wait till May, June. Wait. But you have to observe keenly and gather everything. You can make some comments or get media people to make some comments. Asidu Nketia said this is coming back to bite him. He said his son has an appointment. He said that Akufo-Addo was doing nepotism. Those things you can raise. But being critical of almost everything, Callistus writes a letter and then we are circling it. No, we don't need to do that as MPP. Put the information together so that when you come in May, you can say that in January this happened. In February this happened. In March, this happened. In April, this happened. And then you can draw a conclusion as to what you want to say about the NDC government. And you have to give the NDC government time to settle. And every government deserves time to settle. And it is also going to show a bit of weakness in the NPP if every little thing is being bitten at this time. It's not important. And also there are people who are campaigning for this and that in MPP. That's all okay, but it has to be sort of under wraps if the advice will be taken. Now, the biting at everything would look like nitpicking. Nobody needs that. Just hold it down, calm down, and then observe. I'm sure some mistakes have already started. I'm sure there may be some mistakes made. There would also be some good things the NDC will do. So let's hold it down and keep the record. The most important thing now is to keep the record. This is what they did. On this date, this happened. On this date, that happened. Compare it to 4 years ago. Compare it to 8 years ago. This happened, that happened. Keep the record. Let the government fully settle. Now, if you give them up to June, May, June, July, by that time, many appointments would have been settled. And those who don't get appointments will know that they didn't get appointments. Those who got appointments will know that they didn't get they got appointments. You can begin to, build on that situation. Build on that situation. And then you can do your opposition work responsibly. So the message on this our podcast today from Good Evening Ghana is that New Patriotic Party, you are a great party. The Elephant Party, you're a great party. You've done so much for Ghana. Your leaders have been distinguished. Don't worry. Time will write history about what happened. For now, there is a new government in Ghana led by John Dramani Mahama, President of Ghana. National Democratic Congress will form the government. They've started forming the government already. Give them time, but record everything that happens. On the day that the time has run out, you come and then you lay it out. Should I add more? Need I say more? I don't have much to say. This is our Good Evening Ghana podcast. Was it okay? Was the podcast okay? I don't know. Okay, all right. Well, okay, you hold the text message. Let's get on with more. So we are still on vetting, isn't it? And it appears from what we are hearing that Parliament has actually listed the vetting of Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa to occur tonight. It's now 8 minutes to the top of the hour at 10 o'clock on Thursday, and we are hearing that Parliament will remain and will probably be vetting Okudzeto-Ablakwa later tonight. We hope they don't, because it's really, really very late and everyone is waiting for it. But we're also being selfish. We want them to not to do the Ablakwa so that people can continue watching our show, isn't it? We're quite selfish on that. We're going to give you a combination of two videos to watch now. One is by the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. The other is by Adenta Kumi, who celebrated his birthday recently. Adenta Kumi, happy birthday. Now, the Archbishop Duncan Williams told me something about one of the negatives of politics in Ghana. And I just want you to see it. Have a look at these two videos. We'll come back and we'll go straight to review the Sam George vetting. We'll be right back.
What we are doing right now, we're not going anywhere. Because watch this, I'm telling you, what we are doing right now, I want you to stand. Let me show you something. Just stand. If I'm in opposition, just face this way. If I'm in opposition and you are in office, I hold your leg like that. Try to move.
Yeah.
Try to move.
I cannot move.
Try to do something. You are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I will make sure I circumvent you and sabotage you until you leave office.
Wow.
And when you also come,
same thing.
I will also do the same to you. So I don't wish you well, you don't wish me well. So the nation is bleeding. The nation is bleeding. What we are doing right now, we are not going anywhere. Because watch this, I'm telling you, what we are doing right now, I want you to stand. Let me show you something. Just stand. If I'm in opposition, just face this way. If I'm in opposition and you are in office, I hold your leg like that. Try to move.
Yeah.
Try to move.
I cannot move.
Try to do something. You are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I will make sure I circumvent you and sabotage you until you leave office.
Wow.
And when you also come,
same thing.
I will also do the same to you. So I don't wish you well, you don't wish me well. So the nation is bleeding.
I ask myself, I've taken my time to look at his assets all over the country, and I ask myself, like, what work has Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa done? Whilst people were using their money to build hotels for people to get employment, he's just building houses all over.
You've seen his assets?
Oh, so I have more than evidence. He has a $3 million house now at Airport Hills.
I don't understand. That's where he lives.
That's where he lives. That's why I said that he who seeks equity must come with clean hands.
Sammy Okujeto lives at Airport Hills
with in a $3 million house. His house address is here.
And the value is $3 million.
$3 million.
But I know he's a hard-working guy from school straight to politics.
So what work has he done? He should come and tell us. And
I know him very well. He came straight from school 2007, 2008 then to politics, like Omani Boama, like all of them. He has a $3 million house.
Yes, and even has a $1.5 million house in Norton, and it's a lake house. Yeah, you know how lake houses are expensive.
So his housing together is $4.5 million.
Just
the member of parliament.
The one in America is here.
He has a house in America.
Oh, that was one of his first purchase. His house in America. First purchase with chandelier and all those things. His house in America.
Chandelier, the best.
Those times, $130,000 when America was going through the housing crisis.
I remember the houses crashed when all the house prices came down. So he will make money now if he sells it. Because by now 700.
So you ask me, what hurts me is the young NDC guys that follow him. I ask myself, what has Okujeto Ablakwa done for you? What has Okujeto Ablakwa done for you? That's why I say he who seeks. Sir, there's a lot.
$3 million house in Airport. I want to go and stay there.
Sir, there's a lot. There's a lot.
$3 million house.
And there's been for.
Are you serious about this? So, please let me share the viewers. The views expressed are the views of Adenta Kumi. They are by no means good evening. In fact, we don't even believe it that Okujeto Ablakwa has a $3 million house. We don't believe it. They are by no means our views. They are the express views of Adenta Kumi. Okay, but I'm enjoying it. Say more. So he has $3 million.
Yeah, he has a $3 million house.
$1.5 million house.
Yes,
but Sammy, you are not treating me well at all. Sammy, you are my junior brother. You are not treating me well. You know you have a house in Mepe, and when I met you at Kwesi Pra's house, you didn't tell me that, Paul, when you are tired, drive just Akosobu. Sammy, in fact, I told you that I go to your constituency frequently because I have some orphanage at Enumbu, so that I go to visit all the time. In fact, I was there last Sunday. I was in Enum last Sunday, and I see all the activity on Sundays at your constituency. I've told you before. And you didn't tell me that when you go to your Enum orphanage, can you please, instead of turning left to Enum, go straight and pass there, and then you can go to my $1.5 million. I mean, I once you have DSTV that I can watch Manchester United Sunday night, I'll go and watch Bruno Fernandes. Oh, Sammy, this one I didn't treat me well. $1.5 million house in the village.
Yes.
Whoa, Lakeside.
You want to see the video?
No, not yet. Please, this is. I don't want any information. No, you keep your video. Take a video yourself. Hey, this is shocking.
But, sir, one of the things that hurts me, and before all these things came up, before I started doing an investigation and a probe into him, I decided that let me watch his trend. And I wrote an article, Character Assassination, the act of character assassination by Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. Over the years, when he came into the limelight, the Honorable Professor Hoy has already said that one of the boys that they took to insult President Rawlings. It was who? Yes, he said it. Page 201. If I'm lying, we can just open it.
Yeah,
working with the Rawlingses.
Yes.
For President Rawlings to reply that babies with sharp teeth. That was first.
That was a direct reference to Ablakwa.
Then the next major event, Jacob Echebilante. I keep saying that what I'm doing is for Jake. It's not for Honorable Brian or it's not for chairman. I'm doing for a dead man because a dead man cannot speak. I was having a meditation and I saw this man in white. He said, "Go on with what you are doing."
Are you serious?
I'm telling you, it takes a lot.
Into spiritual things.
Well, Archbishop is my father, so Kabulia is my father, so you can imagine. But let's by the way.
What we are doing right now, we are not going anywhere. Because watch this. I'm telling you, what we are doing right now. I want you to stand. Let me show you something. Just stand. If I'm in opposition, just face this way. If I'm in opposition and you are in office, I hold your leg like that. Try to move.
Yeah.
Try to move.
I cannot move.
Try to do something. You are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I will make sure I circumvent you and sabotage you until you leave office.
Wow.
And when you also come,
same thing.
I will also do the same to you. So I don't wish you well, you don't wish me well. So the nation is bleeding.
As we promised you, we are having a live production from the studio, but we are concurrently serving you with what's happening at the vetting as soon as something happens. So let's go live back to the Chamber of Parliament, where we understand that there's a decision to be made. Let's join them live. So you can see the live pictures from the Parliament's meeting room, where the Appointments Committee is sitting to vet nominees by President John Dramani Mahama, pursuant to Article 78 of the 1992 Constitution, where it says that the President shall nominate his ministers with the prior approval of Parliament. What Parliament is doing is an exercise of its prior approval responsibilities, clearly given to it by Article 78, 79, and the standing orders of Parliament. What we see now appears to be an altercation of some disagreement between the minority and the majority, whilst the vetting of the Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikpe was ongoing. We are not sure why this is happening, and our correspondent is here to tell us the details. We suspect, though, that it's about the time and how long they've spent and whether or not they will take the vetting of the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the President's nominee for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's not clear whether they will do that as well. But right now, as you can see, the inner chamber, the Appointment Committee room has members of Parliament sort of speaking almost at cross purposes to each other. They are trying to settle the matter. There is a chairman and there is a ranking member of the Appointments Committee, chairman being also in the person of the Right Honourable First Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Ahiafo. He's chairing, and the Honourable Afenyo Markin is there. You can see that Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has taken his seat, and here is Alexander Afenyo Markin expressing something and with a little of vigor. And you see Jetro in spectacles. Jetro is a clerk of Parliament, a very senior clerk of Parliament. I'm guessing that he's a clerk of the committee as well. And as we don't have sound coming from in there, we have to wait and let them settle. And let's hear what has happened. We're pretty sure that it's about whether or not the Honourable Samuel Okudzeto should be vetted tonight. And Afenyo Markin is, minority will always say that they have the energy to do it and that the majority should do it as well. Markin is quite animated in the video that you are watching. We are not sure what is happening. Yes, so they are disconnecting microphones from what we are seeing. I think the minority are very close to leaving the room. But we're not sure why. Viewers, we're still getting the taps on what is happening, and then we will know. Let's keep our eye on this one and see if they resume their seats, and then we will take it. So whilst we do that, let's take our text messages. Whilst you keep this on the half screen, as soon as we see something settling down, and then we can come to it. So we go to text messages. So now you see a chair has been lifted. A chair has been lifted. What's happening? The chairs are being lifted onto the table where we expected to have microphones. Oh, what are they doing? They are pulling. The chairs are being turned upside down on the table. Another chair has been put on. This is what is happening. Another chair has been put on. Should one of our reporters here just dash to Parliament and let's do a live coverage with him? Yeah, that's very important. Please, producer, just get somebody to dash to Parliament. If over the next 5 minutes we don't get our correspondent to tell us what's happening, we must go there, isn't it? Is that Patricia Piaget in the photograph on the left side of your screen? Yes, that's Honourable Patricia Piaget. That's her. Afenyo Markin is animated, and he's speaking to the clerk of Parliament. Mr. Jetro is the clerk, and there comes another individual. Is that the whip? This is getting bad. Oh, the gentleman has blocked the screen with his head. Okay, now he's gone off. Who is the person in the political suit? Is that Arnaud Dompré? This is getting really interesting. It's getting very bad. What are the chairs doing on the table? I wonder, viewers, if you are just joining us, this is Good Evening Ghana and it's live. And we are at a point of the show where we have had to take live pictures from Parliament, where the Appointments Committee seems to have run into a cul-de-sac, as it were. We're watching the vetting of the Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikpi, who is the President's nominee for the Ministry of Transport. We took our cameras off there, but kept our eyes on it so that if they begin the vetting of the Honorable nominee for Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we will show it to you. However, our attention was drawn to this stalemate that appears to have occurred in the room where the vetting is occurring. Thankfully, the authorities in Parliament have turned off the microphone, so we cannot hear what they are saying. I think that's very good. But we can glean from the photographs and the videos that we are watching that there is a clear problem in the matter. We suspect that it has to do with whether they should adjourn now and resume tomorrow in the forenoon to take the vetting of Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, whom they have clearly listed for today. But originally it was listed for 1 p.m., whereas that of Sam George was listed for 9 a.m. Everything was rescheduled to the afternoon. Sam George has just finished. Afenyo Makin has left the room, or he's out of our shot. He may still be in the room, but he's out of our shot. He's not on his seat. He's left the room. Arnaud Dompré seems to be beckoning him to come over. You can see Arnaud Dompré on the left, and he's beckoning Afenyo Makin to come over. But then Jethro, the clerk, approaches Arnaud Dompré and is trying to convince them to do something. Arnaud Dompré is pointing fingers to the right-hand side of your screen, and it would appear that Alexander Afenyo Makin is over there where the fingers are being pointed. The ranking member of the committee, Alexander Afenyo Makin, must actually take his seat together with the chairman before proceedings can resume. As it is now, some chairs have been put on the table, put there by members of Parliament, members of the committee. I'm not sure whether that was put there in protest of what is happening or it was just put there as part of the joke. But you can still see Arnaud Dompré trying hard to express a point to the clerk of Parliament. Viewers, we should be getting you the information very quickly, but what you are watching is what we can also see. And we can't even reach our reporter over there. They are trying to call him and it's not working. So all right, now let's keep the picture of Parliament with us. So now we have the information, don't we? So we have been told that you can please bring back the photograph of Parliament so our viewers can keep up with what we're doing here. Okay, so on your right-hand side of your screen, you can see the Parliament altercation still going on. Now, we have been told now that the problem is that the majority caucus in the room wants to continue with the vetting of Minta Akando the president's nominee for the position of health, and that of Sami Okujeto Ablakwa. And it's 10 o'clock. The minority are saying that they cannot continue with the vetting. The majority are saying that it's the minority's fault why we are still here, because they were asking too many questions. I'm not sure what too many questions mean, but they are alleging against the minority that because they asked too many unnecessary questions, that is why the vetting has taken up to 10 o'clock and they still have 2 to go. As I said earlier, Sam George's vetting was listed for 9 o'clock, Ablakwa was listed for 1 p.m. Now, it's now 12 minutes past 10 o'clock, the top of the hour, and the majority are insisting that they have 2 more nominees to finish, Minta Akando and Sami Okujeto Ablakwa. The minority says that they will not participate in that kind of vetting with Minta Akando and Sami Okujeto Ablakwa. They would like them both to come tomorrow morning. So they would like the proceedings to be completed. And then who is in white over there? Mahama Yariga, the majority leader, showed up also to convince Afenyomak and his colleague on the other side, the 2 leaders, to see what can happen. But it looks like the NPP are insisting that they cannot proceed. It's past 10 o'clock. Parliament has been working since about midday. It's past 10 o'clock now and they cannot proceed. The issue is that they want the questions limited to Minta Akando and Ablakwa, and the minority want to really grill them, especially Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, for his excessive political activism, at which he has been quite successful. He has to now face the music of the minority in some of the statements that all activists will make in excesses. Yariga now seems to be talking to the majority caucus and sort of talking to, is it the minority he's still talking to? He's still talking to minority. He's still talking to the minority, because I can see Shaibu over there. So he's still speaking to the minority to get them to. Okay, whilst we keep an eye on the negotiating efforts of Mahama Yariga, the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Majority Leader, let's take text messages of our people and let's get it quickly. Let's begin with Anziba. What are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Our first message is from Stephen Riku. He says, is Duncan Williams not one of the pastors who told their congregation to vote for John Mahama because he was a Christian? He should give Ghanaians a break. The next one is coming from Eric Osaititi. He says, what is going on? Jema says, Sam George was exhibiting childish arrogance with lack of basic respect for the elderly. John Mahama should be careful of who he's keeping in his cabinet because he can't be trusted. From Don Kwesi Pedro, he says, the Archbishop himself is a suspect. He was part of those pastors who wanted to sabotage Dr. Baumia. From Samuel Prekese, he says, the truth has been told. The nation is bleeding. From Abdul Salam, he says, I've been saying this, but they don't understand. You can't criticize everything. If you do, when you're seriously saying something, your cries will not be grounded. It will be easily dismissed. Lastly, coming from Z Haj, he says, the president should be careful with the kind of guys he has picked as ministers. The Ningo Pram MP is very arrogant and disrespectful. Pati, what do you have first?
All right, so coming from Emmanuel Donko, he says, it's late. Ablakwa alone would take like 7 hours. Master Planner Jr. says, on your podcast, the podcast is so solid. He says, thank you for the advice and we will give them time and record the events. We are watching them closely, especially the 120 days they promised. Gariba says, Sam George accused the past government for looting the country without basis. When he was asked how he paid himself throughout his program he pursued in UK, he couldn't demonstrate his capacity to go to London school every month to study and stay for 10 good days. Sam George is a loose talker and every loose talker will live to regret it. Nana also says Sam George was made humble.
You can see that it looks like now there are physical action in Parliament. It looks like there's physical action now. Put it on the full screen. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, there you go. So what's happening here? What's going on? Roxanne Dafiamapo is in the saddle. Who is fighting who? But what is this? Samia Oku in the blue is what you can see. The Samia Oku, the one whose back is to the camera, is Samia Oku, who is also trying to resolve the issues. But why should vetting become a physical event? Abi, what's this? Oh, they shouldn't do the. The table is. What is going on? Fire service, military, Dampari, where are you? Please tell Dr. Dampari to go send his people to Parliament. What is going on? Please. No, we can't have this. What is this? Viewers, we are so sorry about this. We are so sorry about this. Still Good Evening Ghana is live on Metro TV. What is he trying to do? He's raising the table. Hey! What is this? But the cameras are before them. This is not good. They should just close and go and come back tomorrow morning to continue the vetting. Why is somebody insisting that they have to vet after 10 o'clock in the night? If they had started since 12. If they started at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m., it's okay to go on. But this is not at this time. But is that an MP who is filming it? Is he an MP? No. Is he a journalist? He must be a journalist. But can the MP see that this is being filmed? Oh, this is Titus. The one in the suit to your right is Titus Boye. He's been mentioned as potential Deputy Minister for Health. And apparently he's coming in to support Minta Kando, who is a Minister for Health. I can see also to the left-hand side of the screen, viewers, can you see Dominic Nitiwul, the former Defense Minister? He's there also in Parliament. Robson Dafeamapo is very upset. I'm so sorry about this. I see a very gentle police officer in there trying to restore calm. This is serious. Oh, they should stop raising this table business. Is it funny? Oh, okay, they are joking. All right, then. They are not. It's not. They are laughing. Once they are laughing, that's good. There's a smile on Mahama Ayariga's face. What are they trying to remove? The microphone? Please, that's state property. They shouldn't destroy it. It's state property. Nitiwul is smiling. So it looks like it's not as bad as we are seeing from the screen. Once you see smiles and laughter, then you know that men are just being, they are just bringing out the excitement in them sometimes. Another prayer is also seen in here. Titus Boye is looking at the camera, isn't he? Mahama Ayariga, the majority leader and the leader of the House, he definitely needs to bring this under control. He is the leader of the House. He is the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. He has to bring this under control. Is that Collins Dowda? Yes. Collins Dowda is there. Shaibu is there. Another prayer is there. Another shot. The Ghana television pictures are actually being well done, very well done. GTV, congratulations. And to our viewers from Metro TV, thank you for staying with us. We are sorry about all of these unhealthy pictures that you're seeing from the Appointments Committee's hearings in Parliament. We are seeing this in 2020, 4 years ago when Parliament was starting. We saw all of these issues relating to a member of Parliament and his legitimacy to be in there. We remember that matter. Now it's of a different kind, and parliamentarians are fighting each other again. We used to see these things in Southeast Asia and in African other countries in Africa like Kenya, and we were sure that they will never come to Ghana. But here we are. Here we are. It looks like we are there. Huge fracas in Parliament. And Nitiwul is heating up again. Alexander Afenyo-Markin is standing with him. Majority leader is showing a message on his phone. It's a message from John Mahama. John Mahama has sent a text. Mahama Ayariga is showing it to the people that we should stop. He says it's okay. John Mahama has sent a text. And Mahama Ayariga is showing the text to them. And the text from John Mahama seems to be suggesting that it's okay. The NDC should calm down, come back tomorrow and do the vetting. Collins Dowda seems to be saying something. The policeman doesn't know what to say. This is Kweku Ricketts on the left side of your screen. Kweku Ricketts, he's a member of Parliament for Cape Coast South, with his badge slipped into his pocket, standing next to Roxanne Dafeamapo. He's also the chief whip of the majority side. Dominic Nitiwul, former Minister for Defense, must also take control. The soldiers know him, don't they? He can tell them to do something. Well, he now has a new minister, Dr. Manibuama, who has taken over as Minister for Defense. I'm sure he's also watching this and he's seeing. But I'm delighted that the text that came to Mahama Ayariga's phone hopefully will calm tempers down because Mahama Ayariga showed the message to his NDC friends, and it looks like the message was from John Dramani Mahama. I'm just guessing, viewers, I'm guessing, but it looked like that message was from somebody very, very important. Very, very, very important. And that's where we are. Collins Dowda is, wow, Collins Dowda is still flying his hands in the air. This is serious. What shall we do about this, viewers? Shall we keep the camera here and observe what happens until Parliament closes? It will be very interesting to have a live report from Parliament about what is happening right now. But the story, if you are just joining us, is Good Evening Ghana, is live. The story that is creating the fracas in Parliament that you're seeing now is that at 15 minutes past 10 o'clock tonight, the Honorable Leader of the committee, the Honorable First Deputy Speaker, purported to swear in the Honorable Minta Akando, who was in the House to be vetted for the position of Minister for Health. Befi, Ochre Befi, the MP for Koforidua, is the one you are seeing in exchanges with Collins Dowda. It looks like he is teasing him on something. Collins Dowda is responding. Collins Dowda's attention is being drawn. He says, why are you picking up the table? Collins Dowda says, you can't pick up table here. This is going to be a fight. Well, but time is still running, and we are now on 10:20 something, and yet we don't know where we are going. 10:22. And we don't know yet whether this appointment committee hearing will resume or not. So as I was saying, viewers, this conversation is that the majority are insisting that the vetting of Minta Akando and Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa must proceed as scheduled tonight. And the minority, after the vetting of the sports minister, Kofi Adams, and the vetting of the transport minister, have decided that past 10 o'clock, the vetting must continue tomorrow. Now, the under stories, if you like, the underlining messages are that the majority are blaming the MPP minority for asking too many questions of the nominees, for asking, as they say sometimes, unnecessary questions of the nominees. And if they continue to do this, this is how the vetting is going to drag. The minority are also saying that vetting is vetting. And they have seen Ken Ofori-Atta vetted for 2.5 days. They have seen Godfrey Dame vetted for 6 hours. And so vetting is vetting. We have also seen Betty Moldridrisu vetted for 8 hours. I have covered Tony Adu being vetted for 12 hours. He was vetted for Deputy Minister of Defense. And he and J.H. Mensah went at each other for as long as it took. So the majority are saying that if you are going to keep people for 4 hours and 5 hours, we are going to finish all today. The minority is saying that we cannot finish all today. You don't want us to ask Okudzeto Ablakwa questions, so you want to hurry it in the night. We will do it in the morning in broad daylight, and we'll ask him all the questions we have. So this is the conversation that is creating the fracas from what we are seeing. Al-Hassan Tampuli is also showing up in our camera talking to Collins Dowda over there. Al-Hassan Tampuli is a member of Parliament, former Deputy Minister of Transport. Samir Uku is over there. I have for the leader of the chairman of the committee is there in a white shirt and black tie, blue suit. Standing next to him, Dominic Nitiwul, former Minister for Defense. Mahama Yariga, the majority leader, is beckoning people to resume their seat. And so hopefully we are getting somewhere where we can have an announcement from Parliament. And then we will know where we are and what we are doing. Roxin Dafiamapo is the chief whip. He is helping to rearrange the tables in a proper manner so that this process can resume and resume beautifully. So the clerk table, Mr. Jetro, is also there. I hope that the record is being kept intact, and so Parliament may resume. I see Honorable Rudolph standing next to Tampuli, his former boss, in there. And they are raising a table and they are bringing it somewhere. Ooh, where is it going? Oh, does the table got 2 legs? Oh, it's broken. Oh my goodness. Oh, viewers, sorry about that. The table is broken. The state's property. Is it Alexander Afenyo Markin who broke it? Or is Roxanne Dafiamapo who broke it? Whoever broke it, Oral Domlevo must call him that they want to recover the chair that he broke. Oral, Ablakwa is in the chamber. Oral, the thing is there. The table that you both broke. Wow. Ha. So it looks like tempers have calmed down. Alexander Fenyomakin has taken his seat. Majority Leader Mahama Yariga has taken his seat. And we might be hearing a verdict on all the unhappy scenes that we have observed over the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes Ochre Befi is the one in the all black making a statement. Collins Dowda is the one in all white. Mahamayariga is seated in white. He's the leader of the House. In the middle of your screen is the Honorable Ahiafo. He's the first Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the committee. And then to his left and to your right, just before Collins Dowda's image and frame, is Alexander Afenyo Markin, Member of Parliament for Winneba. Roxin Dafiamapo, the Chief Whip on the majority side, is taking his seat next to Dominic Nitiwul. They are bringing in a chair for one of the important people. There are still too many people standing, and it suggests that we may be a bit of a tad away from getting the proceedings resuming. If you see all the people standing, seating, then we will know that the proceedings are about to resume. This is very, very interesting. Apparently, they are going to be talking. Let's see how we pick it. Afenyo Markin is still directing or something. Mahamayariga stood up. What's happening? Okay, let's pick it live. So it looks like Mahamayariga is going to give an interview, is it? The sound, Ghana Television is still not giving us sound, but the media microphones are with him. Still no sound? Okay. We would have liked to hear what Mahamayariga is saying, but we are picking our feed from Ghana Television, and they are Mahamayariga is addressing the media right now. He's telling the media that Parliament has carved for.
we are vetting, let's make good use of the time allocated to us so that we can be efficient, we can vet as many people as possible, so that we can have the ministers at the various ministries functioning and delivering on the commitments that Ghanaians endorsed at the polls by the way they voted. So I am pleading with members of the committee, and I will have discussions with my colleague, the minority leader, so that we can come to some conclusion on the time allocation and how long we take to vet individual nominees. So please, 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 I am pleading with you. I am pleading with you. I am pleading with you. Because what we have done today, we have seriously damaged our reputation as a parliament. We have seriously damaged our reputation as a parliament. It will take us a lot of effort to redeem ourselves. But I know that Ghanaians can forgive, and they will forgive us. But going forward, let us be decent when we are doing the vetting. It is not right to spend 3 hours, 4 hours questioning a nominee. It is not right. It provokes a lot of people. I'm not saying we shouldn't ask nominee questions, but let's be moderate in our approach. I can understand the passions and the anger informing the decision to continue, even though today you have done so well. Indeed, today you had scheduled to vet 3 people. You agreed among yourselves and then made it 4. Then you agreed among yourselves and you extended it to 6. Unfortunately, the developments now makes it difficult to continue and implement the agreement. So I am pleading with you, bear with us. We are ending proceedings, and tomorrow we will continue. Meanwhile,
what if they come tomorrow and they do the same thing? Will you stop? They insisted that there will be no break. We came here we decided not to.
Oh, please, you know where the instructions are coming from. I beg you. Please sit down. Sit down. Please. So we are ending it. The leader of the house has spoken. So please, because the machines can no longer function, they've been destroyed. We'll look into that matter. And so we are adjourning to tomorrow at what time? 10 o'clock? We are adjourning to tomorrow at 10 o'clock. At 9 o'clock. So we are adjourning to 9 o'clock tomorrow morning at the Speaker's Conference Room. And we are cautioning the nominees. We are cautioning the nominees. The Speaker's Conference Room is small. There isn't enough space in the Speaker's Conference Room. So please, nominees, don't bring people, because there's no space in the Speaker's Conference Room to accommodate the numbers that this conference room can accommodate. So thank you very much. Let's
Yes, so we are now exiting. Sorry, viewers, we are exiting the Hall of Parliament Appointments Committee, and as you can see, Mahama Yariga has settled the matter. Vetting will resume tomorrow, away from the room where they are, because, as he put it, the equipment have been destroyed. Some of the equipment have been destroyed. Some of the microphones have been destroyed, and therefore they cannot continue there tomorrow. We know what the problem was. The majority wanted the vetting to go on after 10 o'clock, The minority said the vetting will not go on and that they will come and vet tomorrow. So as they confer, we draw the curtain on our coverage of Parliament for today, and we are coming back live into the Good Evening Ghana studio, and we will continue with our text messages and get onto the touch screen and see what we got to do. But I'm sure that when we take the break, we will get a lot of phone calls coming in, and we'll get more information about what has happened in Parliament. Now, though, let's take the text message from Anzibar first, isn't it?
All right, thank you, Paul. So this is coming from Samuel Ofosuba, and he says, Mr. Majority Leader, have you soon forgotten how you treated Honorable Kenoforiata when you vetted him for more than 24 hours? Was he not a human being who could have been treated better as human? Belkin says the rule or standing order that says a ranking member on the committee can ask an unlimited number of questions is also problematic. Why make such a rule for him to abuse it? And Kofi also says what went on in Parliament prior to 2024 election is on my mind. Is it a payback time for my minority? Radio and TV says, after all, not all nominees are vetted for hours. One was less than 10 minutes. And then Eben says, really, Mahama Ayariga, questions will be asked. These nominees are going to be paid by the taxpayers. Eben Ofori says, if you elect persons based on where they come from and not their competence, this is what you get. Bernard Ahiafo has shown his incompetence, immaturity, bias, and lack of grip, hence this abysmal spectacle. Now, Emmanuel says it's late and Ablakwa alone would take like 7 hours, so they should close. And then lastly, coming from Bawai says, Paul, I totally agree with you and the party must heed to this call. Joe Mansi says NPP never again for Ghana. What do your first answer?
Okay, from Yakubu Yusuf, he says, I think there is the need for the vetting committee to ask all the necessary questions, and I don't see why the majority should be blaming the minority for asking certain questions which they think are unnecessary. From Ibn Ofe, he says, why the rush to get these nominees through? Shouldn't they be accountable for their lies when in opposition? From David A. Doe, he says, shameful and disappointing. From Kofi James, he says, wow, Paul, you are indeed a good narrator. From Malma, he says, I am really disappointed in the Ghanaian parliament. From Isaac Keusu, he says, behaving silly, and when we are told that you are silly, you get angry. From Nana Usu, he says, Paul, let's wait until the whole thing is sorted out. From Samuel Kwashi, he says, this is very unacceptable. From James Kobler, he says, this act must be condemned because the whole world is watching. From Samuel Kwachi, he says, are these really honorables? From Wilson Ofe, he says, I don't blame anyone other than the weaknesses of the chairman of the committee. It looks like the committee members themselves don't accord the utmost respect to him. From Francis, he says, this is very disgraceful. Kojo Opong is saying, the micro-minority overpowered the macro-majority. Enoch Darko is saying, a nominee has been exposed big time and the psychopaths are celebrating his bravado. From Bernard Kobina, says, God bless Honorable Afinyo. Awofufoma Radio and TV is saying, this is a sign of the evil times. Bawa is saying, Paul, I totally agree with you and my party must heed to this call. Lastly, from Mario James, he said, Samuel Ofosuba, this committee shouldn't be used to whitewash Akufo-Addo. We know him and the people of Ghana passed a verdict. From Sam George. Okay, over to you, Paul.
All right, it's time for us to take a break, isn't it? Let's take a break. Let's gather some more information. We'll come back and show you a few things after the break. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live. We'll be back after the break.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafo Ajinkwa and the IRECOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and Iricop organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Matching furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
Apomode sem yemfen diagro. Enunti nese wonum edopapa nko a. Exodus moringa capsules, any Exodus dandelion capsules. Efi Exodus ebusuanum na ebeboa wa pomodem. Emu bia wo benya no betimi aboa wo. Nanso so we here too no a wo betimi andom abom na ebeboa papa. So wonum Exodus moringa capsules, ne Exodus dandelion capsules. Ebwa mamoja di efusani you. Na fe ebusi wo immune system no na kweti ayarewa akodo. Minim ye se ni padodo na nim dia moringa etimi ye. Na dandelion so ye nim. Enu nti ni nkasa bebre. Enye mma apemfo. Ana abatan a oma enifo. Ana abofra onya emfidumi. Exodus ehua dance die dos.
This is Coastal Park, a well-demarcated gated community carved out to host your residential and commercial properties. With a minimum of 40,000 Ghana cedis, you too can own a piece of this serene site.
It's just 50 minutes drive from the Central University College, as well as just some 5 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School. More so, just in case you live somewhere in Adam and you want to take that excursion to many of those areas along the Volta estuary, this is the right property for you to invest in.
Great news from Estate Masters Limited. We're running a 10% discount promo on all sites to celebrate our 10th anniversary. Join in the celebration by becoming an Estate Master. Enjoy benefits such as free site visits throughout the duration, free indenture, and free site plan. Contact us for more information. Remember, T's and C's apply. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
Welcome back to the show. What just happened in Parliament? That's really interesting. Fortunately, we saw it live, and that's the power of television, and that's the power of modern media. Almost every Ghanaian has seen. Now, if you go on your phone, it's all over. Every station is putting out. We're also going to put out our version from what we saw, and then you can grab it on our Facebook page tomorrow, and you can look at it. Anyway, so we have been following the conversation of the Catholic Church and the Freemasons. Because it's 12 minutes to the top of the hour at 11, we will not be able to do the Samuel Ofusampo story and the NDC future today, to come back on Tuesday. But we will show you the interview about the Freemason thing with the Catholic priest. And then the Freemason have issued a statement relating to the protest, if you like, of the Catholic Church relating to Freemason. So I'm going to share that with you now. Whilst we still keep an eye on Parliament, our reporters are now available to talk to us. The MPs are slowly getting out of the chamber onto the car park from what we see in Parliament right now, as our reporter is telling us. Let's see the interview with the pastor about Freemason, and then we come to the Freemason conversation. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live. Let's have a look.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing us into this awesome sacred place, the Holy Spirit Cathedral.
That's right.
First of all, we are here to talk to you about Freemason and the Catholic Church, because there's been a press release about Freemasonry and the Catholic Church. And the press release, we believe, is coming on the back of a public conversation between a nominee for ministerial position and the ranking member of the committee, where issues about Freemasonry came up. Before we do that, for viewers who might be interested, give us a bit of the origin of the Catholic Church, and then link it to the origin of the Catholic Church in Ghana. Let's understand that.
Good evening to our viewers. The Catholic Church obviously started with Jesus Christ himself, who gave the authority to Peter, and upon that we have the succession of the apostles and the Pope. So the Catholic Church is as old as Christ himself. It is upon him, he who founded the church on the faith of Peter, and then they went out into the world to preach. But for 300 years, because of the history in Palestine and around the world, it was, a hidden religion up until the year 312, when Constantine got converted as the Emperor of Rome, and then he gave, freedom for the church to express itself. So in the year 325, exactly 1,700 years from this year, the Council of Nicaea was held, where the faith, the core tenets of the faith was defined, which we call the Nicene Creed. So there one can go look out for what the Catholic Church is all about. Every tenet, an important tenet of the Catholic Church, can be found in what we call the Nicene Creed.
But this creed was created after Peter had died, isn't it?
Oh yes, yes, way after Peter had died. In fact, you would know that the first one was the Apostolic, the Apostles' Creed, which would have been done somewhere in the 1st century, because the faith was growing, and even Scripture itself, Scripture as we know it today, didn't exist at the time of Jesus. So everything came pretty after his death. Like Peter began to write way after, and it wouldn't have been known that what he was written was going to be Scripture. It was the church that put it all together and made it what we know today as Scripture.
How did the church come to Ghana?
The church came to Ghana much in many years in the 1914, 1916. No, sorry, in the 14th century, and then but properly in Accra, the Catholic Church started in the year 1893, where the church was planted here in Accra, and ever since it has grown. And then this edifice that you see here started in 1953 and was completed in 1957, in fact, to coincide with the independence of Ghana. So that on the eve of the Independence Day, the then to be sworn in president of Ghana was here in this very church, where the whole Ghana was dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus here in this church. So it coincided with, so this church has history with our nation.
Super. Very, very, very beautiful history. So why is the Catholic Church opposed to Freemasonry for their members?
Great. As far as we know, and I don't intend to speak on authority on everything that Freemasons teach, but as far as we know, Freemasons would have begun somewhere around officially as the way it is. It began way, way, way before, during the Middle Ages of the Stone Age, but it would have begun properly in 1917. So 1717, okay, and 1723, the first book would have been published to give the rules of it. So the church in 1738 came out publicly by the Pope to say that no, this is not correct. Why? Because Freemasonry, as it has been seen, is a group that promotes a kind of eclectic mentality. It kind of accommodates things that are foreign. For example, God. Christian God is Trinitarian. Mm-hmm. Any religion or anything that calls itself Christian must identify itself with the Trinity, triune God. So where a person will swear by the grand architect, who is he? Is he the Father? Is he the Son? Is he the Holy Spirit?
The grand architect
the
of the
grand
universe.
architect of the universe.
Yes.
You understand? Even though in the creed we believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, but he is also with Jesus Christ, who is God. So this is an association that doesn't accept the divinity of Christ, places Jesus somehow, with all respect, let's say how our Muslim brothers will consider Jesus.
One of the prophets.
One of the prophets, they respect him, but not as God. But so, anybody who denies the divinity
who are
of God,
Freemason,
yes.
What must happen to them?
Well, okay. You see, up and from 1738 to 1983, especially from the 1917 Code of Canon Law, the church's stance against Freemasons was very strong and constituted what we called late sententiae excommunication, meaning by the very fact of your association into the Freemasons, you were excommunicated. You had withdrawn yourself from the communion of the church. However, in 1983, when the current Code of Canon Law came into existence, that sentence of late sententiae excommunication did not appear. So there was the talk that the Catholic Church had loosened its stance against Freemasons. So in 1983, then Cardinal Ratzinger, who went on to become the Pope, petitioned the Pope as to what to do, and the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith emphatically defined in 1983, the same year that the Code of Canon Law came out, that the Freemasons' principles are irreconcilable with the Catholic faith. Therefore, anybody who joins it may not receive Holy Communion. But unlike at first where there was late sententiae excommunication, you probably wouldn't be given a Catholic burial. You wouldn't step into a Catholic church.
But right now you're allowed to come into the church.
You are allowed to come into the church because, as I said, when it comes to church discipline, in the discipline, it is a church discipline. But in the principle, it is of divine origin. So of the divine origin, it has not changed. But in the discipline, we say, why not? Jesus Christ says that when the sower, when the man sowed, the seeds, he realized that there were good seeds, bad seeds in them. But the disciples says, let's go weed them all out, the bad ones. He says, no, hold on, let's wait. At the harvest time, we would weed them out. So the Catholic Church has taken that principle.
So perhaps the principle of forgiveness is maybe what is being applied, isn't it?
The principle of
accommodation.
not just because we have to be careful to say maybe accommodation.
Yeah,
yes.
So when such people who are members of the Freemasons attend Catholic Church, they take the communion, don't they?
They may not.
But they are, if they want to take it, they are allowed to take it.
No, because...
But there are personalities we know who are Freemasons who come to the Catholic Church.
If they do, they you see, the
President Kufuor is a Freemason.
If they do...
He's a very important member of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
He worships at Christ the King Parish. He's seen taking communion on television, on important events in the church.
Well, you see that there are people who also have committed crimes that we know very well that you could mention also like that, such as polygamy, such as other things, such as LGBT and the rest, who may, but once it comes to the attention of whoever, the person, the clergy, that person must bring to the person's attention that, sir or madam or whoever, I don't want to bring any of the personalities here to bring their spiritual life into the discussion. I am a teacher of the church, and in fact the lawyer of the church, to be able to teach what it's, and if anybody has conscience, you do. Because if you go receive Holy Communion in your conscience, knowing very well that this has been pronounced, that which is bringing you, then you are only interested in the optics. You do not benefit from it spiritually.
Okay, so let me just wrap it up on what you are saying, that people who are known to be partakers of obvious divine offenses, polygamy, LGBT, Freemason, if they happen to be members of the Catholic Church, they may withhold themselves from participating in the Holy Communion.
Yeah, yes.
If they don't, they should be reminded
exactly
that they should withhold themselves from participating in Holy Communion.
Exactly.
Is the Holy Communion not a cleansing agent?
Well, that's the point why the church was very, you see, you do not say, that's why the church uses the word may, so that if I am receiving communion today, knowing very well tomorrow I am going to repent, I am going to do everything in God's power to change, then you are bringing. But when somebody takes it on his mind that I'm going to take it, but still I'm not going to change, then you have taken the grace of God for granted. See, that's the wisdom of the church that says that you may. So if a person has committed a crime or has committed a sin, but knows very well that I am going, in the next opportune time, I'm going to make use of all the available means that the church has for reconciliation, so that I can participate well, and because of that I want it for today. Then your sincerity is what is taking you to Christ. But then, if your mind is that I want it but I don't, then it's like eating your cake and wanting to have it.
So I'll take communion but I'll remain with the Freemasons.
That is a deception.
That's not good.
That's a deception.
Okay, that's an interesting comment. We'll let other people share of this.
Yeah.
Of tonight's show, let's get onto the touchscreen and look at what the Freemasons said. The Parliament thing is still on my mind. We are planning so many things to do, write an article, all that. We'll deal with it. We'll have a lot to say about it in the future programs. But let's get onto the touchscreen and see what the Freemasons said about the interview that you just watched, those of you who had the patience to watch it. It says, "Good morning, Your Grace. I have read your recent statement on the incompatibility of Catholicism and Freemasonry with deep interest and a sense of personal responsibility, not only as a Catholic, but also as an Assistant Provincial Grand Master North of the Grand Lodge of Ghana. While I deeply respect the Church's authority and teachings, I feel compelled to address some of the misconceptions in your statement and to clarify why, in my personal journey, I find it both possible and fulfilling to live as a devout Catholic and an active Freemason." Understanding Freemasonry is a subtitle, not a religion but a brotherhood. He says, "One of the key misunderstandings in your statement is the portrayal of Freemasonry as a quasi-religious system that undermines the unique role of Jesus Christ and the Church. Freemasonry," the letter says, "is not a religion. It is a fraternity that promotes moral development, community service, and pursuit of truth. Yes, Freemasonry acknowledges a supreme being, referred to as the great architect of the universe, but this acknowledgement is not meant to diminish or relativize Christ's divinity. Rather, It serves as a unifying principle that allows men of different faiths to collaborate for the common good. But this is where the Catholic Church has the problem. When you say something allows men of different faith to collaborate for the common good, the Catholic Church recognizes only one faith, as it were. As a practicing Catholic, I have never been asked by Freemasonry to renounce or compromise my faith in Christ. On the contrary, my Masonic journey has deepened my appreciation for the gospel's call to charity, humility, and brotherhood love. The virtues celebrated in Freemasonry, truth, justice, and compassion, align seamlessly with the teachings of Christ and the moral framework of the Church. Now it says, addressing doctrinal concerns. Your statement highlights the Church's concern about relativism and suggestion that Freemasonry equates Christ with other religious figures such as Buddha and Confucius. With respect, this interpretation misrepresents the ethos of Freemasonry. The fraternity encourages its members to practice their faith fully while respecting the beliefs of others. This is not relativism. It is an application of Christ's command to love your neighbor as yourself, Mark 12:31. It does not dilute my Catholic faith, but reinforces my conviction that all people are made in the image of God and deserve dignity and respect. On serving two masters, as your reference in Matthew 6:24, which states that no one can serve two masters. However, this verse addresses divided loyalties to God and material wealth, not the compatibility of religious and fraternal commitment. My Catholic faith remains the foundation of my spiritual life, and Freemasonry complements it by providing a structured way to live out of my faith through acts of charity, community engagement, and personal growth. To suggest that a Catholic cannot participate in Freemasonry without betraying Christ implies that every interaction outside the Church is inherently corrupting. This is a narrow interpretation that does not reflect the reality of our pluralistic world or the call of Vatican to engage with modern society in a spirit of dialogue and mutual understanding. The declaration that Catholics who are Freemasons are in a state of grave sin and may not receive Holy Communion is deeply troubling to me. The Eucharist is not a reward for perfection, but a source of grace for those who seek to grow closer to God. Pope Francis has emphasized the Church as a field hospital for sinners, not a fortress for the righteous. My participation in Freemasonry does not separate me from Christ. It strengthens my commitment to live out the gospel in tangible ways. I am well aware that I am not a frequent churchgoer, and I do not claim to be the perfect Catholic. However, my faith is sincere, and my conscience is formed by a desire to honor God through my actions. Freemasonry has provided me with opportunities to serve my community, mentor young men, and contribute to the betterment of society. These are not activities that undermine the Catholic faith. They are its natural expression. As a leader within the Freemasonry, I have seen firsthand how the fraternity transforms lives by instilling discipline, promoting education, and fostering a spirit of generosity. These are values that the Church itself holds dear. To dismiss this as incompatible with Catholicism is, in my view, to misunderstand both the Church's mission and the purpose of Freemasonry. Your Grace, I do not write this as a challenge to your authority, but as an appeal for understanding. The Church has evolved over time in its approach to many issues, guided by the Holy Spirit and the realities of the modern world. I believe it is possible for the Church to revisit its stance on Freemasonry, not to compromise its teaching, but to recognize that Freemasonry, as it exists today, is not the adversary it was once perceived to be. As a Catholic and a Freemason, I strive to live a life that honors God and serves humanity. I do not see these commitments as contradictory, but as complementary paths to the same goal. I hope that my example can help dispel some of the misconceptions about Freemasonry and open the door to a more constructive dialogue. And then he concludes the conversation It's 7 minutes past 11. Reports from Parliament is that the lights were turned off, and so people are leaving and they're outside, and all the media is getting a field day with just getting interviews from all of the people. That's what is happening right now in Parliament House at 7 minutes past 11 o'clock. Ghana's democracy is thriving, isn't it? Are there text messages on this? Maybe there are a few. Let's take the last set of text messages and then we can wrap it up for tonight. Let's begin with Anzibar.
Okay. We'll take our first message from Francis Boahin. He says, Catholic means universal. So the Catholic Church means all churches. So in academic sense, it's not limited to a particular denomination. There is no such difference. Christ said that he founded his church, and there would be only one, his body and his bride. And that would be the guarantee until the end of the world. This Christian church is the Catholic Church, and Catholic just means universal. Our next message will be from Prince Kofi Johnson. He says, what Archbishop Duncan Williams rightly said is very true, and we are not going anywhere. Ghana is the gateway for Africa and for Africans. Adam Anthony says, communion is just for cleansing, right or wrong. And lastly, from Stephen Reku, he says, this man must give Ghanaians a break. Is he not one of the pastors who told Ghanaians that they should vote not for a Muslim? Hypocrites who pretend to be men of God. What did he say during Akufo-Addo's presidency? Over to you, Fatih.
All right, now, Eben Ofe says, we the Catholics should get over this and embrace the Masons. The Church has been welcoming many groups that were deemed or frowned upon. Now back to Parliament. Parkwisi says the majority caucus should by now know the minority will not sit down for the majority to bully them using their mighty numbers. It's simple and common sense. Processes and consensus should order of the day not need this power play, which is likely to create chaos. This is absolutely needless. Now, Nana also says, Sam George was made humble at the vetting today. I was waiting to see Mr. Ablakwa. That would be pound for pound. Some more also say some optics which constitute over on confidence, pride, arrogance, power, possessions, etc. As regards to these factors, if such persons who possess don't take heed to corrections and advices from experienced persons, it leads to things such as distraction. Lastly, coming from Abdul Salam Muhammad, he says, I've been saying this, but they don't understand. You can't criticize everything. If you do, when serious things happen, your cries will not be very grounded. It will be easily dismissed. Now, back to you, Paul.
All right, that's it for Good Evening Ghana tonight. Thanks a million for watching. And sorry about what happened in Parliament, but it took a lot of our show away. We'll be back on Tuesday with all the production I'll put together for you. That's it for Good Evening Ghana this week. Thanks for watching and good night.
Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of
Metro TV. Insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Christianity is not a